Bill Maher thinks WNBA rookie and #1 draft pick Caitlin Clark is being targeted by other players because she's not a lesbian and she's white.
The other side, however, sees something more insidious at play. They argue that the aggression often strays from strategic basketball into targeted, personal antagonism, fueled by professional jealousy. This perspective suggests that some veteran players resent the unprecedented media spotlight, the chartered flights, the record-breaking television ratings, and the colossal endorsement deals that Clark has brought to the league, benefits they fought for years to achieve. The physicality, in this context, is seen as a way to put her in her place. The truth, as is often the case, likely lies somewhere in the murky middle. It is a complex cocktail of legitimate defensive strategy, rookie hazing, and undeniable frustration from established stars grappling with the seismic shift this one player represents. This intense on-court reality provides the kernel of truth that makes the larger fictional narrative of her fleeing feel plausible to so many.
The league is very lesbian, and she's not. And there's race. There's a lot of going on.
The viral script's assertion that Clark was an outsider because she didn't fit the WNBA's preferred narrative is a gross oversimplification, but it gestures toward a real and sensitive cultural dynamic. The WNBA is not just a professional basketball league. It has, for its entire existence, been a powerful platform for social advocacy. Long before it was common in other major sports leagues, WNBA players were at the forefront of movements for racial justice, championing the Black Lives Matter movement, and have been unapologetic and leading voices for LGBTQ+ rights. This progressive identity is deeply woven into the fabric of the league's culture and is a source of immense pride and solidarity among its veteran players and core fan base.
They defend each other on their same team. I mean, men will fight from two teams, but when somebody checks you on who's on your team, you defend that guy.
Caitlin Clark's arrival and the tidal wave of new fans she brought with her has undeniably created a cultural collision. Her fan base is by any measure larger, broader, and more demographically and politically diverse than the league's traditional audience. For a player who has generally maintained a more apolitical public persona focused primarily on basketball, entering a league so defined by its social activism creates a complex navigation. The narrative that she is a victim of a system more concerned with politics than sports is misleading. It is not about the league actively rejecting her, but about a league and its players grappling with a monumental and sudden identity expansion.
I'll just say, it's not always racism when a white person succeeds.
And it's not always racism when black people hip check them either.
The friction arises from this juxtaposition. How does a league built on a specific set of progressive values integrate a phenomenon that brings with it a massive audience, some of whom may not share those values? How do veteran players who have shouldered the burden of building the league and advocating for social change react to a rookie who, through no fault of her own, now commands the entire spotlight? The situation is not one of ideological exclusion, but of a challenging and sometimes awkward integration. It is the story of an established culture meeting an external force so powerful it inevitably changes the shape of everything, creating the growing pains that are easily misinterpreted as targeted rejection. The most easily debunked element of the viral narrative is the financial one. For decades, the idea of a WNBA star playing in Europe was not a sign of desperation, but of sound financial planning. Due to a salary cap that keeps WNBA salaries far below those of their male counterparts in the NBA, top players have historically spent their off-seasons playing for high-paying clubs in Russia, Turkey, Spain, and China. Superstars like Diana Taurasi and Breanna Stewart have earned the majority of their career income overseas, where wealthy ownership groups can offer salaries well over $1 million per season. For these athletes, playing year-round was a financial necessity to maximize their earning potential. This well-established context is precisely what makes the rumor about Caitlin Clark so illogical. She represents a complete paradigm shift. Thanks to her historic and ongoing success in securing colossal endorsement deals with global brands like Nike, Gatorade, Wilson, and State Farm, Clark is arguably the first player in WNBA history for whom the overseas financial incentive is largely irrelevant. Her off-court income from endorsements is estimated to be many multiples of her WNBA salary and likely surpasses what she could earn even on the most lucrative European contract. Her decision to forego playing overseas during her first offseason is a direct reflection of this new financial reality. She possesses the luxury, a luxury her predecessors fought to create a world for, to prioritize rest, recovery from a grueling back-to-back NCAA and WNBA season, and the continued expansion of her domestic brand. The idea that she would flee to Europe for money is a fundamental misreading of her unique and powerful position in the global sports market. The appeal of Europe is real for many players, but for Clark, the financial logic is inverted, making the narrative of a financially motivated escape completely baseless. In the final analysis, the sensational story of Caitlin Clark's dramatic flight to Europe is a hollow fiction, a digital ghost story that says more about our current media environment than it does about the WNBA. The truth is infinitely more complex and compelling. It is the story of a transcendent athlete weathering the storm of a brutally physical welcome to the professional ranks. It is the story of a league and its veteran stars navigating the turbulent, exhilarating, and sometimes painful process of being transformed by an unprecedented cultural phenomenon. The real drama is not about an escape plan to a foreign league, it's about the profound and lasting impact this singular player is having right here, right now, reshaping the very foundation of the league she proudly calls home. A powerful and seductive narrative has recently woven its way through the digital landscape, capturing the attention of millions. What if the entire story you thought you knew about Caitlin Clark's professional journey was a carefully constructed facade? This viral tale posits that the celebrated commentator Bill Maher didn't just offer an opinion, he supposedly unveiled a seismic truth, a revelation far more shocking than we could have anticipated. The story alleges that Clark's much-discussed, yet entirely fictional, relocation to Europe was not a strategic career move motivated by financial gain, but a profound and desperate act of self-preservation. This narrative paints a vivid picture of a generational talent fleeing a hostile and politically charged WNBA environment, a league where she was allegedly made to feel like a perpetual outsider, an unwelcome guest at her own coronation. Everyone, it seems, from casual fans to dedicated followers, is buzzing about what Maher purportedly revealed, the so-called true reason behind a ghost contract signed overseas. But before we delve deeper, a critical distinction must be made. This entire premise, while forming the basis for countless videos, articles, and heated online debates, is fundamentally and factually incorrect. It is a masterclass in modern myth-making, a story that thrives by tapping into pre-existing cultural anxieties and a thirst for behind-the-scenes drama. Caitlin Clark has not left the WNBA for Europe. She remains the starting point guard for the Indiana Fever. The bombshell revelation is not a secret contract, but the very existence of a widespread narrative built on a complete fabrication. However, the themes this fiction exploits, the intense physicality of the league, its unique cultural dynamics, the role of media, and the complicated nature of stardom are undeniably real and demand a far more thorough and nuanced exploration. To understand how this myth took flight, one must first accurately parse what Bill Maher actually said. His segment on Real Time was not a piece of investigative journalism revealing a career move. It was a highly provocative and controversial monologue offering his personal analysis of the social dynamics he perceived within the WNBA. The focal point of his argument was the now infamous flagrant foul committed by Chicago Sky guard Chennedy Carter against Clark. Maher used this incident as a springboard to launch into his broader theories about the league's culture. He pointedly highlighted what he perceived as a tepid and delayed response from Clark's Indiana Fever teammates, contrasting it with the immediate, aggressive retaliation he argued would be standard in a men's league like the NBA. Maher's bombshell was not a fact, but a deeply contentious opinion about the reasons for this perceived inaction. He stated, with his characteristic bluntness, that a confluence of factors was at play. There's a lot going on. Its women are catty. The league is very lesbian, and she's not, and there's race. This statement, not some hidden contract detail, was the incendiary core of his commentary. He framed Clark's experience not as a player being institutionally pushed out, but as a cultural outsider navigating a complex social ecosystem where, in his view, her race, sexuality, and the perceived cattiness of her peers made her a target. This was not a reporter breaking news. It was a political and social commentator applying his own controversial worldview to the world of sports, igniting a firestorm of debate and providing the raw material for content creators to twist into a narrative of physical escape. While the European escape is a fiction, the premise that Clark's transition to the WNBA has been arduous is rooted in the very real and observable phenomena on the basketball court. The intense physicality she has faced has been the single most dominant storyline of her rookie season. From the moment she stepped into the league, it was clear that opponents would not be rolling out the red carpet. She has been subjected to relentless pressure, hard screens that blur the line between legal and illegal aggressive box-outs, and a series of high-profile fouls that have been dissected frame by frame on national sports shows. The incident with Chennedy Carter, a blindside hip check away from the ball, and a hard foul from Angel Reese that was later upgraded to a flagrant one are merely the most visible examples of a consistent pattern. Clark herself has acknowledged the challenge, stating with clear frustration after one game, "I feel like I'm getting hammered." This has sparked a league-wide debate with two primary camps. One side argues this is simply welcome to the pros treatment, the kind of physical initiation that legendary players like Michael Jordan, the Jordan rules, and LeBron James endured as they threatened the established order. In this view, the physicality is a sign of respect, the only way to contain a transcendent offensive talent